if you're starting and stopping your fitness goals, it might be because you're struggling with something called FOMO, fear of missing out. What is up, people? Jean Carlos here with the Total Body Training Podcast, where I help people get lean, gain muscle, and build some damn confidence. And today's topic is FOMO, fear of missing out. All right, so look at my little purple notebook, my little new purple Total Body Training shirt if you're watching the video version of this. This is a test product right here. Side note, let's jump into the topic, into the conversation. All right, so fear of missing out. Now, this is something that I know that I have personally struggled with at times in my life. It's this feeling that I'm going to miss out on something. So let's say you've got a goal, or there have been times, let's be less hypothetical. I'll talk about my own fitness goals. When I first started getting into lifting, something that I would run into is that I had this fitness goal of tightening up my body and getting a little bit more swole. And then what would happen is a day or two would go by where I would do well, maybe 2 or 3 days, and then somebody would call me up to go get shit-faced and drink a ton, and I would end up doing that for multiple days and eating or something like that, right? Eating a bunch of like junky foods that weren't really matching what I wanted. So I would start again. And I would, pick up on Monday and I'd be like, okay, like whatever. Like, I kind of threw away Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of this weekend. It's no big deal. Maybe I'll try to really buckle down. And then I'd buckle down for a few days and then something would come up. Like a movie would come out on some day of the week and I would just have to go see that day. Couldn't wait, so I wouldn't go to my workout. Or somebody would invite me out in the middle of the week and I would, skip my workout, or just anything. I would have this fear that I was going to miss out on something. I would think this is going to be the only opportunity I get to go to this concert on a Sunday in Mobile, which is a neighboring town to us. That was a little bit bigger than where I grew up. I have to go to that. I can't miss it. I can't not see this band that I've wanted to see my whole adult life, which has only been I was only like 20, 22 or 23 at the time. I might never get the chance to see them again, right? I could be missing out on this opportunity. So I would go to the show, have a good time, but then on the flip side, I would go home and then be tired of shit and not work out for a few days because I was struggling to get caught back up because I had this fear of missing out, not scheduled my life correctly, and then not been able to follow up on my goals. And the thing with that is that if you let a fear of missing out dictate and dominate your weekly habits, all right, you are going to chronically run into the issue of never pursuing anything with any kind of vigor, any kind of effectiveness, okay? So you're never really going to get shit done if you're stopping every time some new bright, shiny object shows up that distracts you from what you are supposed to do. And let's take a look a little bit. I'm going to back up a little bit. I don't always work linearly here on the Total Body Training Podcast. I just want to read what FOMO is and separate the definition that I found online of what FOMO is from the version that I'm using. So I'm kind of like using two versions of this. And it's, here I read online, it said, in quotes, anxiety, and I Googled this, so it's the first thing that I Googled. It said, FOMO is anxiety that an exciting or interesting event may be currently happening elsewhere, oftentimes aroused by posts seen on social media. So, in the case of FOMO, right, it could be the case in this definition that you are at home, okay, and you've decided to come home early because tomorrow you're going to get an early start by getting up a little bit early and working on an assignment for school, or maybe you're going to get up and go for that jog a little bit earlier, or maybe you just know that you need to get some more sleep. But instead, you see, it's like 7 or 8 o'clock at night, and you see that Of Montreal, this is the example, is performing tonight in Mobile, Alabama, and you decide, and all your friends are going, and they're posting pictures of themselves getting ready, and you start to feel like shit. Like, I just have to go. When could they not be here? I have to be there. I cannot miss out on this. And, if you go, it can end up derailing what you're supposed to do over the next few days. That's definitely been the case for me on many occasions. And if you don't go, there's the other side of it, where if you don't have a strong will, in this case of like looking at people online, you might feel sad. So FOMO can be preceded by sadness if you don't do anything to fix it. And that can mean that you sit there and you watch everybody post themselves jumping and dancing and having a good time at the show, and you sit at home and you're like, man, I really wish I'd gone. And you say that over and over again. I have done that. Literally just been like, man, I really wish I'd done X, right? And then you feel this kind of sadness. So then if you never really have the conversation with yourself of, you know what, I'm glad I didn't go because now I got the opportunity to work on my assignment, or I got the opportunity to go work out, or the opportunity to go work on my business, whatever the case might be, whatever it is, you might continue to feel like you fucked up. Like you dropped the ball and you should have done something. And that is the tricky thing with FOMO. That the moment that you feel, I think it's natural to feel like, hey, I really would like to go out and do this, or I really would like to go out and do that. While I think that's very natural, I think that the answer to solving that is resigning within yourself or teaching yourself that, yeah, it's true that I want to go. However, what's also true is that I really want to work on myself. And I really want to make sure that I don't miss my workout tomorrow morning because I went out really late today, unplanned. Or that I don't just get shiny object syndrome and see things going by and think I'm going to go hang out with my friend on a day that I'm not supposed to hang out with my friends late at night. Or I'm not going to eat the food that Cheryl brought in with cupcakes, right? All my coworkers are eating the cupcakes. I have to eat the cupcakes, because they might not be there again, right? So you get this feeling of like, I've got to do this. This is an opportunity. And you forget about stuff. You've got to you've got to follow that feeling up with, hey, it's okay. I'm just setting these things aside for an opportunity to work on myself and improve myself. And that is what ultimately is going to make me the happiest, right? Because the vast majority of men live lives of quiet desperation. I believe that's a Henry David Thoreau quote that I've heard. And essentially, most people, and I've fallen into this category, so I'm not better. I'm not saying that I'm better than anybody. Most people live their lives wishing they had something else, or wishing that they looked a different way, or they had another opportunity, or they'd pursued something different. And I see this all the time when it comes to people's fitness goals or with their life goals. They will say, I really want to get in shape, or they will say, I really want to start a business, or they'll say, I really want to pursue this, or I really want to pursue that. And then do zero of the follow-up, or just like kind of start to do some of the follow-up, which is almost more damaging. They'll tiptoe a little bit into the endeavor. So they'll go to the gym like once or twice, but then never show up. Or go once or twice, once a week, and then miss like 2 weeks, and then twice the next week, and then miss another week, and then go on some crazy crash diet to make up for the guilt that you have about not following the shit that you were supposed to follow in the first place. So my friendly little recommendation here is that you don't want to live a life of quiet desperation. You might be a lot happier if you buckle down and you say, you know what, whenever I get this FOMO, missing out, this feeling like I'm going to miss out on something, I need to recognize it for what it is. It's a distraction from what I actually want for my life and what I actually want to pursue. It's not that there's anything wrong with going to the Of Montreal concert in Mobile. It's not that there's anything wrong with going out with your friends and having a good time. I want you to go out with your friends and have a good time. I want you to have experiences like this. It is only a problem if, and most importantly, if you really want something else and your actions aren't matching what you need to do to get that. So you can't have the Of Montreal concert at random and get up and be able to work out effectively and continue to balance out your goals. You just can't have both things. You can't just have shiny object syndrome, change your mind on a whim when you want something for your life. You've got to sit down and buckle down and focus on what's going to make you happy in the long run. And I promise you, if you do that, it won't feel good at first. It didn't feel good to me. But I promise you that eventually what will happen is that you'll start to teach yourself how to be disciplined, teach yourself how to focus, teach yourself to stay true to something. Teach yourself the habits that it takes to accomplishing your fitness goals and accomplishing your life goals. And once that habit becomes ingrained, you'll be less likely to break it, and you will not struggle with the idea of FOMO. There are times now, as a business owner, that I love what I do, but there are times when something comes up and it just so happens that it's right at like 6:30 or 7 o'clock on a Tuesday. Okay, so I'll have a comedian who comes into town. I remember Jim Gaffigan came into town, and Bill Burr, comedians that I think are funny, came into town. I love comedy, if you know me, and I really wanted to go. However, I could not go because it simply wasn't in my time frame. It's not something I can do. And you know what's funny is that since then, those comedians have been back to town multiple occasions. So, I've had other opportunities to go. My point is that because I've taught myself the discipline of like sticking through to something, because I don't struggle as much as I did when I was a little bit younger with the FOMO, I didn't feel the sense of guilt for missing out on seeing these comedians, even though I've wanted to see them for years, since I was in my early 20s. I've thought they were hilarious. I've listened to their shows. I've watched their shows, listened to their comedy specials on my phone when I'm working out, like literally, like I do that. And I felt like, you know what, it's okay. What I really want to focus on is writing or editing or something for Total Body Training this evening. Or what I really need to do is make sure that I just teach my 6:30 class until in the future I have somebody else filling up that space. I'm going to have to do this. And you feel this sense that you're doing the right thing, or I feel this sense nowadays that I am doing the right thing by not going to those things. So I don't feel distraught, or I don't feel a sense of FOMO when I miss out on one of these opportunities, because I have taught myself that I don't need to just drop my habits and drop my goals weekly and drop the things that are important to me to go to these events, okay? Does that mean that I don't have fun or go to stuff? Sure, but I just make sure that it doesn't conflict with my actual life goals. That's all you have to do, folks. You can have fun, just make sure it doesn't conflict with your life goals. All right, people, that is enough for the Total Body Training podcast today. Watch out for that FOMO. Until next time, peace.